Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 274, Comedy Film Nerds.
There's a lot to talk about today.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
We launched a new store today. Did you know that?
No.
We're going to talk about that today,
okay.
too. We're going to talk about Inside Out. We're going to talk about Dope. We're going to talk about Obama being on Mark Maron.
The greatest moment in podcasting history, I think.
Pretty much, yeah. Other than the fact that, you know, when our Kickstarter funded, it's probably the best moment in podcasting history.
I would have said it was the Will Anderson episode, the spoiler rep that we rescued. That's what I would have said, but...
From the Jaws of the Abyss?
Yeah, what was the episode?
Pacific Rim?
The Pacific Rim. I thought that was the best moment in podcasting history. But...
It was up there. Now it's fallen to two. Number one, Obama. Two, Will Anderson.
Well, let's introduce our guest. You've heard her lovely voice, been on the show numerous times, Laura House.
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura House.
And
thrilled to be here.
And Comedy Film Nerds writer.
Comedy Film Nerds writer. Okay. First, and let me just say this. Thank you to all the people who came out to see me at the Comedy Corner Underground in Minneapolis, and, of course, at the Doug Loves Movies podcast in Minneapolis. That was a lot of fun. Love that city. Good times. Comedy Corner Underground is a cool little club that's been around for a long time. It's just been sort of an open mic, and they're just now starting to make
snow.
No snow. Typically no snow in June, so that was nice. So yeah, that was really. It's a cool little club, and it's like if you live in Minneapolis and haven't heard of it, check it out because it's like a little 74-seat room, and it's a nice little venue. So thanks everyone who came out. So we got to get right into this.
Yes.
So Obama being on Mark Maron's show. I was just listening to it literally on the drive over. No one has had an interview bigger than this. How do you top
this was it. And the great thing was, it wasn't like Mark trying to, I've been trying to get this interview for a
he didn't
year.
go to college. He doesn't want someone from his staff or someone like... They contacted him.
They approached him. And we got to get the story from Mark, but it must have been like when they first contacted him, it was like, well, this is a joke.
Yeah, you've got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Dave Anthony's doing a bit.
Dave.
I got it. You got an impersonator.
Yeah,
I get it.
You got a new email account.
Yeah.
.gov somewhere.
I don't have enough black people on the show. I get it. I get it. I watch my own series. I got it. I know you can't let it go.
It was... Well, first it says several things. Obama's staff listens to podcasts.
Yes.
And they really should start listening to this one, guys. I think love to have POTUS in here talking movies.
Joe Biden, maybe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think it has to be...
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be Poe.
Does
Get
Michelle
Vipo. Get Malia. Let's chat movies.
You know, we did shoot at the Capitol for the movie.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty close.
We came to his house.
Yeah.
Your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Odds are he was not home.
Yeah.
But he can go to some weird...
Yeah, a garage. I love that he actually... I love that he actually went to the garage, because when I saw that it was, when they announced it was happening, I was like, I wonder, because sometimes Mark goes on location to talk to your Bob Newhart or your whatnot, and... I thought, is he going to have to super security in the Four Seasons and the, secret room? And they say it's this room, but it's really a totally different hotel or whatever. And I love that it was like, no, let's do the thing in the garage. And
the greatest thing, too, is any big celebrity is like, you're going to have to come to me. No, motherfucker, the president came to my garage.
Guess what?
Hey, you
win an Oscar?
Yeah, you're about to find out where Highland Park is.
When Bill Gates went on Nerdist, he flew all of them up. He didn't come down to the studio.
Of course.
So who are you, Gates? You better than the president? You ever committed people from Microsoft to war, asshole?
My gosh.
How many of those letters have you had to write?
Well, now, we don't know.
Now, who's going to get the big interview with Mark about what it was like to interview the president? What podcast gets that one?
I don't know. But I'd love to be the first guest after Obama on WT.
Yeah, good luck following.
That's all he can talk about. Well, I would love, what if he had the president on and he didn't talk about any presidents, so just Mark Still is like, what do you think of my divorce? And, he's like, Obama's like, well, I don't know, Mark, I feel like you got to move on. Like, Obama's just like, there's just nothing political. And he goes, Mark, I just, like,
as a friend,
I just feel like you're really spinning out about this. Like, you just gotta,
about you.
Yeah, man. Like, she's moved on. She's got a kid with somebody else. He's having the same combo.
Term limits, man. Term limits.
Term limits on your neurosis.
Yeah. If I was still upset about, my first 6 months in office, I'd never get anything done. Come on, man. You're right.
Thanks, bro.
You're right. Yeah, I guess I can.
The thing I put on Twitter is the only way for us at this show to top it is we have to do a Magic Mike spoiler rep with Putin.
Yeah.
I think.
I was going to
see if he contacts us.
I was going to say get Chris Pratt in here with a dinosaur.
Yeah. But it's still not.
There was nothing for you.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
That doesn't
it's a dinosaur.
I don't know. Is Chris Pratt?
It's a dinosaur. Okay.
Did Chris Pratt get my health insurance to go from $459 a month to $126?
No, I guess he didn't. But he has a dinosaur.
Yeah, but
we are, as a nation, we're over dinosaurs.
But to be fair, he could have subsidized your health care.
Yeah. Maybe you never asked.
All right, my fault.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
I feel like don't punish him because it never came up.
Yeah, maybe I'm playing victim here.
You're playing the victim. Who knows what Chris Pratt would have done for your health insurance? Given a text.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Love you on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I got a real high insurance bill. Maybe you can bring it down like $350.
I haven't had union insurance in a while.
I have a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
Can you help me out?
Yeah. After doesn't cover podcasting.
I got you. He just sends back. I got you.
All caps.
Wow.
5 exclamation points.
Pratt.
The thing I loved about this interview, and we're in the final stages of editing Earbuds, so I've been watching for months all of this. Here's how great podcasting is, and people going, oh, they connect right to you. And I'm like, logically, I get that. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts.
Sure.
Listening to this, I was like, wow. I feel like the president is like, I'm talking like to me, like me, him and Mark.
Like you're sitting at the table.
And that is the power of podcasting. No, I get it. He's the president of the United States. He's very aware of every single word that he's saying.
Sure.
He knows what he's doing. He had a briefing about this, but still, it's so conversational. And where else? Like, I've seen him on The Daily Show and Between Two Ferns.
And by the way, that's the opposite of a comedian doing a podcast.
Right.
Everything's thought out, meticulous, and there's no stream of consciousness. I mean, that's literally that's what was so great about it, too. They were literally
just
opposite approaches and opposite personalities. And just talking.
And just talking because, Mark was just like, well, let's bring up this and let's bring up that. And Obama's going into his talking points because it was very, and he said it. He goes, the reason I'm doing this show is traditional media you can't communicate.
Yeah.
Like, we need to get the people who aren't dug in, because how many of us, in this room listening to this show of like, I'm done with, I canceled my cable. I can't watch CNN. I can't.
Well, if you watch Fox or MSNBC, it's the same thing. It's just choir preaching.
Yeah.
It's just, I already have this point of view, so great, more of it, and make fun of the other guy, and we get it.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
With Viagra commercials.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not smart enough to watch BBC. I understand their news is real good, but I'm not going to understand it. That's too real.
Yeah. And they have accents.
And I can't listen to that. But like, so it showed like, the whole thing showed about the connect, and it's like the connection to podcasting, how powerful it is, and how like, wow, I just felt like I was listening to the president talk, and then traditional media, true to form.
Yeah.
What did they cover? The N-word. That's out of that hour conversation. That's all they talk about.
Because they can only report a soundbite. That's all they can report. So we got to find the most controversial thing, regardless of what the context is.
And they take it completely out of context.
Yeah. And once it's out there, well, like, Fox can't not mention the N-word if CNN is going to mention the N-word, because we all have the same talking points, and
then it'd be
weird. We can't be the one place that acted like we didn't know, so we have to say it too. It's like, nobody can.
What Obama kept saying in that interview, and this is the thing, like, Will Anderson said this in his interview for Earbuds. which is Will Anderson came up in radio in Australia, where the thing I hated about it was, I had to do morning radio, and they would say, okay, you're for, you're against, go. And you had to pick a thing and fight. And that's what traditional media goes. He goes, Will said, the thing I love about podcasting is I can say I don't know. Yeah. I can say I'm not sure. I'm on the fence. And that's what Obama was saying. He goes, these issues are so complex.
Oh, gosh.
And you want to just say red, blue, Republican, Democrat, for, against. And then what
conservative, liberal.
Conservative, liberal. And as a liberal, I have to believe these 7 things. I have to be on this side of these 7 issues. And then traditional media, what do?
Yeah.
They boil it down.
So then guess he just went on there cussing.
Yeah. And then they had, what did they do on all these dumb shows? They had an
expert.
One side of an expert. Well, you think this expert on this side of it, and you think the con of this expert. It's like, you guys, he told you why you're not relevant anymore, and then you went and showed everybody
it's a satire that really fully just happened.
It fully bloomed.
It was a satire of it.
It's you're an expert on TV because you have Chiron. That's it. Because you have a label under your name. Oh, we must be an expert.
And as Laura, you said before we started recording, they must be like,
they're scared to death.
They're losing their mind.
Yeah.
Did you see how
a guy with like a Fu Manchu mustache,
a comedian
is interviewing the president in his garage. I've been on air 25 years. I can't interview the president. Brian Williams wasn't talking to the president, or whoever big news people are.
Yeah, get a list of the number of I got to interview the president for an hour.
Yeah.
How many people? One hand?
Mark, Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
Barbara Walters.
Yeah.
Really.
For an hour.
Yeah. He was also the president. Sorry to interrupt. He was also the president who utilized Twitter. His grassroots was it's such a validation of new media. Yeah. Well, it's also he's aware.
Right.
And to your point of him, understanding technology, it's, or having nuanced opinions, like what you can have in a podcast. I have been stunned in politics for years when someone changes their mind, they're waffling as opposed to evolving.
Right.
There are many candidates where it's one thing to flip back and forth and you're obviously not standing somewhere. But I feel there's been many times where it's oh, I feel this way. Oh, you know what? I've gotten new information. I see it a different way. I'm changing. Right. Waffling, flip-flopper. Yeah. It's just it's called educating myself and growth.
Yeah, and we'll have none of that.
Yeah, no, that's stupid. Who are you? What are you? Are you red or are you blue?
It was so funny during I think it was Bush's second term, when the Daily Show, I remember watching people on CNN go, they were just aghast. They're like, people are getting their news from the Daily Show, society's crumbling. Mm-hmm. No. Everybody knows you're full of fucking shit, and Jon Stewart is the only guy being honest. So you guys, the traditional media, your day is goddamn done. Fucking get out of our way.
There's the audience for traditional media now is basically they're aging and they're not being replaced. It's the same thing with radio is going the same way. Now, the interesting thing I noticed too, in a way for them to try to stem the bleeding, ineffectively, is I saw some of the articles never mention the word podcast. Went out of their way not to say podcast.
How hilarious.
They would go, an interview was released.
Oh,
with
wow.
the president,
Interesting.
Mark Maron, and they would literally avoid, I'm they must mention the word podcast later. No, it was deliberately omitted.
That's fascinating.
So they're we'll put our heads in the sand. We'll pretend this technology doesn't exist.
And it's not
it'll
crushing
go away.
you.
Yeah.
And it'll go away. If we won't mention the word podcast, it won't exist.
And Squarespace...
They saw the writing on the wall.
They at the top of the show, he goes, this is sponsored by Squarespace, commercial uninterrupted, because usually Mark drops reads in there.
Right.
So Squarespace got to be on, this is going to be the most downloaded podcast in the history of anything.
Oh,
right.
Of course. And for years.
Yes.
For years to come.
Yeah.
And it's and by the way, he's in our festival. Ha ha.
Yeah. Too bad he couldn't.
Obama.
Yeah. Too bad.
He's doing the comedy night.
He's going to do the Phil Henry show.
It's too bad he couldn't save the. Yeah. It's come on, Mark. Could you save that interview for the festival?
Yeah, come on. Live.
For the live stream.
In front of 100 people in a hotel room. 100 people.
It was.
It's incredible.
It was so amazing, and it just shows you, like, how everything is changing. I have a good friend of mine I went to college with who's a cop in Phoenix, Arizona. And he listens to podcasts, and he was starting to tell me, he was pretty conservative. He was like, I still sometimes feel like, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But he goes, the immigration issue is so big here in Arizona, and people are coming here from a poor country doing a job that none of us would want to do. Yeah. Cleaning something, selling fruit on the freeway or whatever, because that's 10 times better than what it is back home. He goes, so I've even started to expand my view and look at things differently, and oh wow, like, whoa, wait a minute, like,
yeah, the political parties don't like that.
No, they
don't like an evolved view.
Well, Mark said the same thing in the interview. He goes, I came up doing a lot of left-wing radio, and I realized that even that was off.
Of course.
Everyone just had this, the left wing when the war in Iraq and Afghanistan started, just had this like, no.
Any point of view that's like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong is like not bright or nuanced. But I was going to say, like, it's changing for sure, but it also seems like it goes in waves, because it's my understanding that 50 years ago, there's Walter Cronkite, and there's news reporting that had some weight and some, here are some facts, and also there's a point of view here, but without preaching and screaming and so many politics is like, but they're fat and they're, just, you have to put it in some weird, pill that I think people aren't wanting, but it's like what's being broadcast as if that's what people want. And there's also a history of comedy in politics that is so strong, of like comics like early on, like Daguerre, who invented daguerreotyping, which led to photography, was a political cartoonist who, like in France would be like thrown in jail. You make a cartoon about the King of France, and so you're in jail. Like, that's how powerful comedy is. Because the whole role of comedy is to say, you know what, I'm actually I see how everyone's looking at this. I'm coming in a side door. Right. I'm telling the truth about this. I'm actually giving a further out perspective than anyone here seems to be looking at. And then people go, I find that refreshing. That's great. And that's what's happening.
Well, Lenny Bruce always said, to be a comedian, you had to have a built-in bullshit detector.
Yeah.
And that's what.
And if Fox News is not paying your check, you can say whatever you want. That's what's so great about a guy in a garage. And you can like him or not like him or not listen to him, but if you like him, it's because, he says the truth.
You go all the way back to Shakespeare, and every jest lies half a truth. So when you're listening to a comedian, they're not bullshitting you. There's truth there. That's, we're very...
So podcasts are stupid.
Exactly.
Stop listening.
No. It's not going anywhere.
Go back to traditional media.
Yeah, get your cable TV back up and running.
Listen to your morning radio show. I'll stop talking because I'm a girl.
No, you have to do the news.
I'll be back for the news. And they'll just, good one, guys.
Bill Dwyer's great bit was always the girl had the regular name. It was always Flapjack Whiskey and Helen.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Helen. Okay, I'll stop talking.
Oh, shut up. Broads are dumb.
You can hear on there when they're like, when she chimes in, that's like a da-da-da. And you can see him in the room like, quit talking.
Yeah, no. News is over.
That wasn't funny.
Yeah, wear something tighter.
We're funny.
Yeah.
You're just here to pass out stickers and an altar top when the van's at the bar on 4th Street. Helen, shut up, Helen.
Oh, the K-Rock van is going to be out of it.
Helen's going to be in a tight top giving out stickers. If you know what I mean. I mean, she's going to be giving out stickers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Oh man! So let's talk about what do you want to start with? You want to do?
What you guys do Inside Out?
Let's do Inside Out. Now I saw this with the entire family on Father's Day, and I got to say,
me too. I was sitting right behind them.
Right. We bring Laura with us.
Well,
and
just never put her in the same row.
Yeah.
The kids are starting to ask.
Yeah.
She looks familiar. Nope. Never seen her. We don't know her. Don't talk. Don't look at her. Don't look at her.
So I'll tell you, this is one of those movies that I thought it was fantastic. It's
no.
Pixar at its best.
You're stupid. Here's why. Bulletin.
It was. I think it's one of Pixar's best. And what I love about them is when they hit that note of like, well, is this a kids movie or is it? Is it a kids movie that adults can enjoy? But I really felt this one went completely on the other direction of where. This is kind of a movie for adults that kids can also enjoy. It got really deep into psychology and growing up.
If you were a freshman in college taking a class in neurology, it would be a great movie for you to watch. About how, it was almost like an incredibly brilliant way to explain how the brain works, how memories are formed, why we're happy or sad and why we need to sort of have a balance of emotions.
Yes.
Like it really I was like, wow. If they had, how in Harry Potter, she'll use like the Latin base of words that,
right.
So later when you learn that word, you go, oh, I kind of know that word from Harry Potter, whatever, big words. If they had gone that far as to, they'll go, oh, this is long-term memory. But if they had like a funny term that was actually neurologically based, that would be like the next step where you go, oh, now I actually understand about the hemispheres and the, everything in the brain.
It was that complex.
They're caught in the amygdala.
Yeah, it was really fascinating.
But they just call it Amy. Like that would be the next step. Like
right.
it stopped just before that point.
But the way like they went through like how memories are formed and what like is like a core memory that affects your personality and all these things.
Like you have some certain number of core memories and that's who you are and you're like, oh, it is.
Yeah, and the way
and like a memory's happy.
Yeah,
and then maybe later, like it can become sad.
It can become
like, oh, I love my friend, I'm happy, and then like, oh, I miss my friend, I'm sad.
And then the color changes on the memory, and it matches like the character that's in her head. It's amazing, and
it's
also
crazy.
I was definitely tearing up in this movie.
I cried.
Sounds like some places. Obama bullshit.
Yeah. Thanks, Obama.
But
thanks, Mark Maron.
What I just loved about it is it just hit like, and this is Pete Docter, the director who also did Up, and he just knows how to get you.
Oh,
he really knows how to get you, and obviously John Lasseter's involved in every aspect of it as well. But this was the kind of movie where this is another perfect this is like a perfect family summer animated movie. It really is. It's like what I love about Pixar movies too is we went early in the day. There were families there, but there was half the crowd was couples or people that without kids, and that's the Pixar brand. Is they'll get everybody. In fact, I've heard people tell me that they go to Pixar movies late at night just so there'll be less kids in the audience. Right. But they go to see these movies anyway, and. Just out of the gate, it's
Toy
funny.
Toy Story was a great make-out movie.
Yeah. Louis Black is Amy. They're all really funny. But what I found fascinating is that, like, it wasn't as funny as I thought it would be because there were so many emotional moments and emotional beats to it. So there were actually less jokes.
Yeah.
Because, they had so many of these emotional beats in it. And just... I love the way that everything related to something else, like from the islands of personality to like the console that they would control when each emotion got to control the girl. Like, you saw like the buttons and levers and there were all
when
these
the girl was like
things.
Sad or happy or disgusted, it was because a different emotion had like
was
taken over.
Yeah.
So like if something's happening and like anger's like, I gotta take over this, like you go, oh, anger's in charge. But there was such a great thing of like, it's explaining yourself to you, like even as an adult, like right. I'm not young at all. And you're like, oh, that is what happened. Yeah. Oh, and kind of when you can't help, like, there's a point where sadness is like touching everything and everything's turning blue and it's sad. And she's like, I don't know what's happening. I'm kind of out of control. And I was like, oh yeah. 'Cause sometimes you're just really sad and it's just coming on. And I was like, wow. And seeing what's happening in her head and how it,
and how her personality changes as she's getting
talking
older. It's amazing, and it's also
so it follows this girl's like whole life.
No, she's 11.
It's 11, but it's
kind of 1 year.
It's a key moment where like they move away from her hometown, San Francisco.
Page 10. Classic structure. Like happy, blissful childhood. Everything's amazing. Parents are great. Good friends. Plays hockey.
And it literally is self-aware to the fact of like, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
And
happy kid. Oh, now she's 11. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And then it was like, now we're in a new place. She doesn't know anybody. And so it's like happy. It's also the movie within the movie, or the story, you know, in her head is kind of an overbearing happy, you know, who like ruled most of her childhood. And then the other emotions really are finding their place. And happy has to realize, oh, like it doesn't make sense for just me to be in charge.
Right. We know, like her, we need to be happy all the time. We need to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
And that was the way she started. And then that was, you know, realized, well, no, the other emotions play a role in controlling the girl. Yeah. And if you suppress those emotions, it doesn't work out as well.
Yeah. It's fascinating too, of like on the level of, there's certain points in it where it's like, you know, where like, let's say happy gets lost, like within the system, like joy is lost. And if joy is lost forever, you know, and it's kind of showing inside the brain sort of craters and cliffs and, you know, in this way that's all set up in a way that makes sense, the way
like
they're
who's
doing
left?
it.
Fear, anger, disgust, and they keep trying to emulate joy. And it never
and just what's coming out of this girl's mouth is very different. But also, I was like you can draw these conclusions in such a smart way from this film because of what they've set up of like, oh, there are some people who joy was just lost and they're criminals or depressives or, you know, like you can sort of like the premise that they set up for how the brain works is so solid that you can extrapolate any understanding of humanity basically because of how like, oh, I see how that would actually work. Or some people, maybe their happy is just on steroids and bigger than other people, or like it was really a fascinating kind of ride through the brain. And
there was some really cool visuals too. Like each personality aspect was like a different amusement park. Like, and each one was like you looked at these different, like there was the hockey amusement park because she played hockey. Then there was
like family and Goofy Island
and Goofy Island, and everyone looked like, I kind of want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because you looked at it and you saw them from afar, but there was like rides and stuff to do and everything, and it was really
how do memories
amazing.
Get forgotten? Like all these really interesting things.
It went into everything, how the brain works. It was fascinating.
I had one criticism, which I must have. What? Just to be I started getting a little claustrophobic a little bit into it. Like around a half hour, I was like, I gotta get out of this chick's head. Like, not that it's small, but and then they did move, and then it became adventure. And you do see, you know, outside in the world, and, you know, there's other fun things with her parents and stuff. But there was a point where I was like, you know, say versus like Toy Story or something that was like a full, like you're in the world. I was starting to feel a little like, I gotta get me out of this head. It's like I'm a little like I cannot keep watching these four emotions running around.
It's
like
such a small personal story too. That's what's amazing about it. It looks epic in scale when you're inside the head, but really it's a personal story about you know, this girl dealing with her.
So I got a little like, can we get in somebody else's head? What is this?
How did your kids, like after the movie, when you talked to your kids about it, how did they process,
especially Isabella? I'm curious.
Like, heavy,
the older,
you know what?
It didn't come across as heavy. You could also see it as just fun little characters running around.
They each took away different things.
Oh, interesting.
That's what was really interesting. Like, you know, my 6-year-old just saw it as like a fun, colorful kind of animated movie, whereas you know, my 10-year-old. She saw the nuances more about, you know, the first thing she said is like, yeah, you can't really have joy, the happiness without the sadness. You need the sadness, and like it was really.
God, that makes me cry.
Yeah. She literally she nuanced it and she took that away.
Well, it's almost about her. Yeah. I mean, it's about her age. It's about a girl.
I mean, she's 10, and she said it's like, well, it was one of her favorite movies. She loved it.
Wow. Did you tell her you're going to move next year?
Yeah,
this is gonna happen to you?
To Minnesota specifically.
This is your future.
I remember, no, my parents got divorced when I was 9, and we moved when I was 11. Those were
it's a formative time.
I remember that like. My vision of it is everything prior to 9 was a blast.
That's what this movie. It might make you cry from the beginning.
Yeah.
Be careful. Go with someone.
Yeah, and as a parent to see it too.
That's the.
Yeah. You only need one. Just pick one.
Well, I'm a man, so I'm only allowed
just pick anger. Yeah, just pick that.
Oh, and they played around with that too. Like they started going into other people's heads, and there was a bus driver, and it was just all anger, and they were all saying different things. There was they go occasionally to other heads, but it was it's a great movie. I'll tell you, Pixar. There was a couple. Like, well, that was okay. Like Cars, it's not that great, but Inside Out is one of their best, and I really think it's one of the pinnacles of the of their entire library. I loved it. I'm going to see it again. We'll probably buy it, and
I'm going to see it next week with my nieces.
Yeah, they're gonna love it.
Yeah, I was just like, I want to see this with these 3 little girls.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of those, like, I, to this day, still think about the Muppet movie. Because and it has informed how I think about goals and dreams and trying. And, it hit me at the age where it, like, such a dork, but, like, lives in my heart.
Right.
and I always, because it hits that, like, you just gotta go for your dreams. And like, I would imagine, for your daughter, maybe her age 9, 10, 11, 12, like to see this movie, I would think forever you would just have this new sense of like, oh, at the end of the day, your memories download. And at the, your core, like I would start thinking about what are my core things, or like, oh, now I can see this memory. There's the idea of it being explained to you that a memory can be totally happy and then later become sad just because, like, you miss that person or, or something, or the dog isn't here anymore or whatever.
This movie's going to stick with her for sure. And I remember, too, one of the things she said at the end of the movie was like, why was Mommy crying so much? Because she moved at a younger age. And it's like she said everything that happened, she just kind of related to, and what was going on with the girl and how she was upset in the new school, and it was unbelievable. It was so good.
But also near the end, if you're not crying, you're just a monster.
Yeah.
You're just a monster. There's a real gut punch in there that's like, oh, but of course that has to happen.
Yeah. That's calculated from the beginning.
That also explains everything. Oh my God.
That's the first page they write when they make these.
Yeah.
But it was...
They get you.
It was really, really well done. And it was the kind of movie, too, when you look back on... if you're a kid, you look back on the movies that kind of shaped your childhood, this is one that you'll remember.
I'll bet.
For sure.
All right. Well, let's talk about Dope.
Okay. Now, I heard good things about this movie.
Man, I really...
Hold my weed, man.
Really liked this movie.
What's it about?
Okay, it's about a couple of 3 teenage kids who were probably 15 years old who live in Inglewood. It's present day, but they're obsessed with 90s hip-hop culture.
Amazing.
Oh.
So they, go to vinyl stores and they get CDs, and they have VHS tapes of like Yo MTV Raps.
Really?
It's one of these movies that is so inventive. At the end of it, it was like, I remember like the first time I saw Brick. Mm-hmm. And after the movie, I was like, did I really just see an amazing film noir movie that took place in
a high school?
In a high school suburb?
Yeah.
So this is like hip hop hipster nerds?
That's it's and to me, I'm looking up the director,
but in a good way.
And they are nerds,
right?
They are nerds, and so they get picked on. And the director Rick Famuyiwa, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that.
Bless you.
Directing that correctly. Here's the movies he's directed: Our Family Wedding, Brown Sugar, and The Wood are the main movies. So those are all sort of black themed movies, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like, as is this kind of, but I feel like this movie he wrote and directed this. My guess is this is like, hey, this is what it's like for me. It goes back actually to the top of the Obama Mark Maron interview, where Obama talks about, his journal as a 20-year-old, where he's like, I had to, because my mom's white and I grew up in Hawaii, there's these ideas, I'm supposed to fit into all of these, oh, you're a black man, so you should be this. And white people are expecting you to be this way. Other black people are expecting you to be this way. So I feel like the director really wanted to say, I want to tackle this in a funny way. But really went into the, like, you know, I'm a nerd. I'm a black nerd. And like, so they're riding their BMX bikes, you know, and he's got a high top Kid and Play fade, and the drug dealers and gangbangers are all like, we can't go down this street, we can't go down that street, and it's got hilarious moments, but with this like these little like heavy social commentary moments. Like they're talking about the N-word, and they're talking to this white dude, and this white dude's like, why you guys can call me that, but I can't call you? And it's a funny scene, but it makes you go,
yeah.
You know, the filmmaker wanted to go, I want to address this.
Right.
And I want to address the fact that, you know, one of the school counselors at his school who's a you know, an educated black man, but is like, you really think you're getting into Harvard? And it's a funny scene, but it shows like I have all these tough things coming against me, and yet you keep expecting me, like, and there's fucking so much funny shit. The lead character, they're like, his nickname is, I forget what it's called, is like, it's called White Mike or something, like he's
that's really his nickname, White Mike.
But Mike Whitesuit.
But it's his name is where is it? The character's name is, anyway, he's made fun of because I make fun because people say I like white things, and they list off the things, and it's like
mayonnaise.
You know, it's like God, what were the jokes? It was like stereotypical white things and Danny Glover. Like fall out of your chair.
That's awesome! I can't wait to see it.
And then he gets, you know, there's like drugs are put into his bag by mistake, and what does he do, and how does he get out of it? It literally, and it had like all of those movies from the 90s. Like I felt like it was a combination of like House Party, 3 O'Clock High, with some Boys in the Hood.
Interesting.
Like, and you're just like, it was, there's like, and then, you know, he's got a, you know, I got to meet with the counselor that could potentially help this business guy, this black businessman from my neighborhood who can help me get into Harvard because he went there, and I got him. And then, and there's a schedule, and they're on BMX bikes, and they're so nerdy. And like one of their crew is the other thing of like any nerd, all your friends, you're all outcasts. So his one buddy is the guy from, who was in, names, you're driving me crazy. Like Rick Fox is in it. The kid that was in what was the last Wes Anderson movie that just came out?
Grand Budapest Hotel?
Yes. Who played the young assistant, the Middle Eastern kid.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So he's one of his buddies. So he's
great.
And they joke about, what are you, fucking from Morocco?
Right.
We don't even know, like, nobody even knows his ethnicity. And then a lesbian who looks like a boy. And they're all freak weirdo outcasts who just want to be nerds. But
so a little bit of Revenge of the Nerds.
A little bit of Revenge of the Nerds.
It feels Napoleon Dynamite, like
yes.
Elements.
It's got
elements. It sounds amazing.
All those quirky movies, like, you know, like House Party was hilarious and it was fun and had little social commentary jokes in there, like, you know, like, why are you disrespecting women this way? Why do you talk about women this way? House Party had some fun jokes like that also were like, you know, think about this. Kind of like what you were saying earlier about how the comedians and satire makes you...
Yeah.
You got to think about
That's how you get a message.
Yeah, that's how you get a message across. And so this was like, I see why this had done so well at Sundance and some of the other festivals, because it makes you laugh and you come away this going, wow.
Yeah.
You know, he shouldn't be, you know, like, why does a black man have to fit into this? And other black people put him into that, to that stereotype. White people put him into that stereotype. And he's like, no, why can't I be all of these things? You know, and but the way they handle it.
Oh, that's so great.
And then there's just like the drug dealing and how to handle that and the economics and the corruption of that. And I mean, it's like, it's a really fun, inventive. It's just one of those things where you're like, you could almost, like this filmmaker, I'm sure, got these other scripts and went, okay, you want me to make the wood? Sure, I'll make it. You know what I mean? I'll do brown
like
sugar.
this was heart.
Like, I'm making this. And it's, the executive producers are Pharrell Williams, who does a lot of the music in it.
Oh, wow.
Sean Combs, P. Diddy.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. And Forrest Whitaker does the voiceover. So you felt like they went, like, I'm sure Pharrell Williams was like, I am down with what you're saying in this because I have to battle this, I'm sure.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to do, hip hop and R&B, but I got to talk about guns and hoochie mamas and bling bling. Like, I don't want to. So it's such an amazing film. And it's one of these movies that I love doing this podcast is I love telling people about a movie like this that might not have
gone under the radar.
Would have gone on the radar a little bit. I don't know how wide the release is, but man, go see this movie. It's hilarious. Also, the soundtrack is all 90s hip hop that I love.
That's gotta be great.
Does it have Kid and Play on the soundtrack?
Is there breakdancing?
No, but there's great moments where he's talking about it's like the 90s was brought up all these things, the lead character, and this one like gangbanger goes, yeah, but motherfucking Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer also came out of that era.
Be discerning.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Would you say it's dope?
That is a counterpoint.
I would say it's dope.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, it's this movie, man. Go see it. It's everything that like. It's such a great. Yes, it made me go, this is why I love movies. I love when a filmmaker comes in with a point of view that like only they could have.
Right.
Like
also for like now when there's at the time in film where there's so much complaining about why is everything this huge blockbuster without heart and why is everything, and it's like, well, not everything is. Like, take a second to
it's just harder to find the stuff that,
Yeah, take a moment. There's other movies being made.
Well, that aren't on Burger King cups.
Well, yeah.
There are movies that are not on Burger King cups.
Right, and I don't know if it's necessarily
the more you know.
Harder to find. I think you film fans... and we'll get into this in fan feedback section because this one fan's all mad that Greg, I forget his name, was all mad that we liked
dinosaurs.
That we liked dinosaurs. Gregory Hare was like, you guys, because you're saying how great Jurassic Park is, you're supporting these awful movies, and if you don't like Transformers, how can you like this? And the fact that you guys all like this on the Facebook page, this is why these movies keep being made. Great theory. Greg, here's what it is. These are giant multinational conglomerates these are huge franchises.
That are run by marketing departments. And it's not even about domestic box office.
They have to play overseas.
To China, specifically.
Avengers...
Yeah.
Marvel, all the blow-em-ups, they have to play in China.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, you make some good points in your email for sure. And one of the things that I will say is that films as an art form, they can create an emotional reaction. Like with Jurassic Park, did you have enough fun and was it compelling and entertaining enough that you overlook its many, many flaws?
Right.
And that's the question really as it comes up. Are you able to forgive the poor storytelling and the two-dimensional characters and all that stuff, because did you have fun at a summer blockbuster movie?
Right.
And this time it was yes. The Transformers movies, however, it is so incompetent and so horrible, and that filmmaking is so poor that there's literally nothing to enjoy in that. You have anything from uneven tones, characters that make no sense from one scene to the other. You have bloated, overblown giant fights that last for an hour that are all take place in a computer. I don't want to say it's apples and oranges, but it is a different emotional reaction to it. And it's also a different, I will say, not that Jurassic Park is great filmmaking, but it is more competent than the Transformers.
And it's digital apples and CGI oranges.
Exactly, yes.
And to say this, Gregory, too, the summer popcorn movie has always been there.
Yeah.
from day one. It was a Western. It was big. The big studio movies did Beach Blanket Bingo. They did.
Movies have known that kids are not in school in the summer for a long time.
Yeah. And they buy popcorn.
Yes, they understand.
No, but they also had various degrees of competency to them. There's some great popcorn movies. There's some horrible popcorn movies.
With dinosaurs.
You can have
that movie would be.
That would be amazing.
I would see that.
Beach Blanket Sharks.
A party with dinosaurs and popcorn on a beach.
Let's start marrying those. Beach Blanket Sharknado.
Yeah.
Beach Blanket Sharknado. Bum, 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 bum.
We're singing and playing volleyball. Ah!
Starring Raptor Funicello.
Hashtag Raptor Funicello.
And you put some social consciousness in. Why is everybody making fun of Diane just because she's a raptor?
Yeah.
Their friend is a dinosaur.
But here's the thing.
She's just new to school.
So Gregory Hare, you bring up good points, but also these big franchises, they're going to do $1 billion in merchandising. Mm-hmm. And that's never going, that is when the corporations took over the studios in the late 70s, early 80s, this is what is the result of that.
There's a Lego version of Jurassic Park. There's not going to be a Lego version of Dope.
Like John, what was it?
Not without a big petition. What was ad campaign. Not without a lot of write-ins.
John Carpenter, the Mars guy.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that tanked at the domestic box office, but it still turned a profit internationally. So these movies are not going away.
That's all they care about.
John Carter. Now, John Carter, interesting thing about it, had some very competent moments in it, too. It was some really interesting science fiction. Ultimately got bloated and held down in its own, CGI madness. But there was still a compelling, classic story, science fiction story underneath that.
And I'll say this too, and this is to go back to the initial point here, is you had to be living in a cave to not know Jurassic was coming out, right? Or Avengers or any of these big movies. Because like you say, it's on a Burger King cup. It's on it's
everywhere.
They bought ad time on the inside of your eyelids.
You feel like you've seen it, even though you just saw 80 trailers. Yeah. Like you didn't actually see it.
But a movie like Dope, it's not harder to find. You just have to make some effort. So, Gregory, your posts are great and keep making them.
Yes.
And we appreciate that. And then go see Dope.
Still valid opinion. Absolutely.
Valid opinion, but then go see Dope because this movie is worth your money. And this is and these mid-size, these small and mid-size movies, the box office is crucial because if it's not going to go international. Yeah. And also, internationally, are people going to get these subtle nuances about a specific culture in a specific part of Los Angeles?
Yeah. Love and Mercy is not going to conquer China.
No, it's not.
But you can go see it and have a good time.
Right. So check out Dope and thanks for your post, Greg.
Also, we can talk
Sorry for yelling at you, but thank you for your post.
Let's talk to Laura about what she has going on the How to Hate Yourself.
Well,
let's talk about how to hate yourself.
Okay. This is hilarious.
I'm going to tie it in with what we were saying about I cannot handle one more earnest line, like in politics. Like I can't handle one more, hey, just love yourself. So I have a campaign called How to Hate Yourself. I have a website, howtohateyourself.com. I couldn't believe it was available. But I've had this character in mind for years. So I've shot these videos where it's like a motivational speaker that's like, you have to learn how to compare yourself to other people. And she really makes the point, as my favorite sort of comedy does, is like, okay, you have a little voice inside, right? Of doubt and fear. Like, oh man, I don't know, maybe I can't do that. And no matter what you do, you meditate. Believe me, I know. You meditate, you gurus, workshops, right? Love, the affirmations on the butt, whatever it is. It never goes away. Why? Because it's right. So I'll teach you how to turn up the volume on that voice of doubt and fear because that's your guiding voice. You're here to hate yourself. Like we're all like, why are we here? What's the point? You're here to hate yourself. It's so obvious. You're born with so much to hate. You're born into a family who you hate, right? Your weird cousin and what's with your dad.
And they hate you.
You're born with a body to hate. It's just magazines point out all the flaws in your body and that's how they stay in business. And that's your body. You're born with a mind to hate. How many people are smarter than you? A lot. Here's the question. Do you have everything you could ever want? You would if you were better. So that's where you start with self-hate. And I have videos where I give you all kinds of great techniques, like for one, and there's one, like, you don't, even if you feel good about something, like, oh man, I feel great. I just sold that project for $100,000, but it wasn't $200,000. Like, there's always a way to hate yourself. Like, it's for everyone, not just for people with problems. So I have a solo show that all the shows have sold out at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. And directed by Craig Anton, who's amazing.
Oh, Craig's so funny.
He's so great, and he would love it. And he really tempered the show because it's this How to Hate Yourself character, and she comes out. I brought you guys merch. I brought your tank top that I want a picture of you in. And Chris, I have a little more respect for you, so I brought you a tote.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm not going to make you.
Thank you.
But somebody came to my show. I throw merch out at the beginning, just like a motivational speaker does. I have my face on M&Ms. I've How to Hate Yourself M&Ms.
Could you give us a couple other
and items? Stickers? Yeah, if you want to sell some on the website of limited supply, meaning like 3, like T-shirts, but we have very limited edition. I can always order more, but yeah.
We could give them away with some gift packs.
Yeah, you can put them in.
I tell you what. How many do we have? 3? 1, 2, 3.
You have 3. You have a tote and a white tee and a red.
Here's what we do. The next 3 people to buy either a Hit Clown shirt or a Hello Junkie shirt.
The red tee is a V-neck, you guys. A V-neck.
We'll get one of these items.
Excellent.
So go buy those.
Yeah. And
we'll
I'm going to
sift through all the Thrilling Adventure Hour DVD orders.
Sure. But you'll stand out because you won't be the thing we've been filling for 2 weeks. That's awesome. So this is what
I love how much it tickled you.
Oh, it's so funny because
it's great.
This is why, as we talked about earlier, this is why I love a comic's brain. I love the way. Because I know you personally. I know you've done this. Like, you went to India.
Every fucking thing.
Yeah, you've done all of it.
You teach meditation. Not only do you meditate, you teach meditation.
I go all the way.
Yeah.
Go all the way with it.
And then, still, you still have this doubt in your head. I still have it. I mean, I was doing the same thing. When you were saying, I was like, God damn. I do yoga.
What do I need to do?
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I still have TMJ.
Yeah, there are no more support groups.
Oh, God. I'm still like, earbuds is going to fail. I fucking hate it. It's not going to be done.
Because it is. Because I can hear someone say hate yourself all day long, and I can laugh at the absurdity of like, oh, I should go out. Like, because a lot of her tips, it's just stuff everybody does. Like, Facebook is a great way to hate yourself. Did someone, look, your cousin went to the park and had a great time. You went to the park, but you didn't have that good a time. Hate yourself. You don't live as well. Like, cause everybody does that. Like, there's studies show.
Look, someone's on vacation on
you
Facebook.
Just get depressed. Oh, she said yes. Oh, my life is over. You've been happily married for 13 years. You're like, everything triggers us into, oh, I don't have that. And so I was like, oh, I just want to cultivate that and go, yeah, exactly. Even George Clooney, you're not Bill Gates. Do you know what I mean? I go into the audience and I'm like, how many Olympic gold medals do you have? None. Hate yourself. Have you ever walked on the moon? No. Hate yourself. Like, because all day long your brain is coming up with hypothetical things that you've never, like, you can watch Inside Out and go, oh, I didn't write Inside Out. Like, oh, what have I done with myself? It's like, well, that wasn't your path.
I don't know. The thing that I love about it, and I'm assuming this is the end game, is it's a very funny way to go, oh, it's ridiculous when I think that way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Like, some
people don't get that.
That's
Yes, ideally you see the absurdity and you laugh, and then when you see yourself doing it again,
you go,
at the grocery store, and you're like, oh, that guy's really ripped. I've really let myself go. Oh, I'm doing that thing. I'm just looking at something that's none of my business. And just, I don't have that. I guess I'm a loser in some way.
The self-help stuff of find the gratitude in everything.
It's exhausting.
It is. Like, that sentiment.
And it's a huge multi-marketing business campaign.
And it's not.
Self-help is a pyramid scheme.
Well, it is, and there's also, and the reviews of my show have been so awesome. It's exactly what I wanted. Like, it's people are like, I went in knowing it would be funny, but it also really moved me. And people have been like, cause I also tell, it's not this character for an hour. It's also my story, but it's framed in this way. So it's like I'm one of her star students and telling my story. And when it gets really sad, she comes back out again. Hey, isn't she great? And it's like hardcore. And I get all these comics like Janine Garofalo and on video and, Guy Branum and Baron Vaughn and Dave Hill and all these great comics as if I've worked with them to help them hate themselves. And I didn't get to use the whole clip, but like Baron Vaughn was like, I'm in a Netflix show called Grace and Frankie. And Laura pointed out to me, I'm not Grace or Frankie. Like, what does it really even matter? And like, cause that's what your mind does. Like years ago when I starred on a show on MTV. So it's like, it was my first showbiz job. I'm starring on MTV and I felt good for half a second. And my brain, I swear to you, said, well, it's just cable.
Right.
Like you can't give yourself a break.
Yeah.
So this is my movement. And you think it would be a good podcast?
Yeah.
How to Hate Yourself as a podcast?
Because
I smell 2 guests.
Yeah.
It's so great because it's the best. Like, to me, I have personally learned to find the gratitude in things, but God, that new age shit just sometimes makes me go, shut up. Like, I want to go.
And they're the worst people.
You're dumb.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to say.
Dumb.
Yeah. When I do say that, I just
it's cloying.
I was in a yoga class last late October, early November.
Mm-hmm,
So
name drop.
And we had just come off, California's in a huge drought. Last summer, going into the fall was a huge drought. And some woman, the teacher before every class was like, anybody got anything? Everyone's like, oh, I hurt my shoulder and I can't, blah, blah, blah. So this woman goes, I just wanted to say that, this high priestess who brings rain, did a ceremony and there's going to be rain this weekend. So
that's not an injury.
Oh God. A, not an injury.
Yeah.
B, oh, you mean it's going to start raining in the beginning of the fucking rainy season in California? Like, shut up.
Because someone did a rain dance?
Every November it starts raining.
Well, the high priestess.
And I was just like, lady.
Yeah. The level of the taking yourself too seriously. Another thing, cause I have a little, like a booklet that will turn into a book. And I have all these sort of points she makes, but she's, one of my favorite things about her, she's constantly trademarking things that, we're gonna make people who are better than you the list trademarked. Like, you can't trademark the word list, trademark. And she just, and that is trademarked.
Just the way James Brown would find his band in the middle of a show.
Yeah, one is my motto is show a man his flaws, he'll hate himself for a day. But teach a man a system to constantly identify and focus on his flaws, he'll hate himself for life. And that is trademarked. And just M&Ms and coffee mugs and water bottles and onesies. On the How to Hate Yourself website, there's a whole page of fake merch that's like top hats. Everything's $100.
Monocles.
Applesauce. Just
trademarked.
Yeah, it just makes me laugh. Cause so much of it is and I am here to sell this to you. Janine in her video said, she's like, I got so much from Laura after she asked me for money. It's just, so it's skewering that, and it's my story. I don't know. I'm really happy about it. So How to Hate Yourself is my new movement. HowToHateYourself.com.
HowToHateYourself.com.
I got videos. Check them.
All right. Well, we have an ad read.
Oh.
Yeah, we have an ad read.
Yourself.
You know why you don't hate yourself as much? Because you're on a new mattress.
Oh, dude. I love this. This is no joke.
Casper mattresses.
These guys sent me a mattress about a month or so ago.
No way.
But Graham, they can cost well over $1,500.
Oh, not the Casper,
not
friend.
the Casper ones.
Shipped it to my house in a box. You unravel it, and it's sort of this new kind of memory foam. And so I've been sleeping on it now for a month, 2 months maybe. Mm-hmm. And I always have had sleep issues because, one, my brain, I can't shut it down. So the minute I wake up for any reason, I'm up.
Right.
And the traveling. Hotel beds, different time zones, weird food, messes with my sleep cycle.
Right.
So I've been home actually the last couple months working on earbuds. I've been on the road very little. And
are you sleeping better?
No joke. I'm not sleep. If you were to ask me this without an ad read, I would say the same thing. I am sleeping. It is, and I do a lot of physical activity, and then I'm also sitting either on a plane or at a computer.
Right.
So I can get.
Or filling DVD orders.
Or running around this garage filling DVD orders. Yeah, we need to start hiring people to help with that.
Yeah.
But so
what are you doing later, Laura?
Real busy.
Yeah.
Real busy.
But I've been sleeping on this, and it has literally, I've noticed a difference. And they have the 100-day guarantee. If after 100 days you don't like it, you can send it back. I am not sending it back. And they said in their literature that came in the box,
it's like latex foam and memory foam, right? Together?
Yeah, so I've slept on memory foam on certain hotels, and I've always really liked memory foam. This is a little firmer at first, and they say, look, give it a couple weeks. It's probably going to be completely different for your body to adjust to. And now I'm sleeping like weird soreness and aches and stuff like that have gone away. I love these mattresses.
How is it for doing it?
It is good.
It's a good do-it mattress?
It's a good do-it.
What size did you get? You got
I got a queen. I got a queen.
Oh, so there's plenty of room. Move around. It's great. Now,
For doing it?
No, I just meant moving around in your sleep.
Yeah.
When you're doing it?
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
How is it for multiple positions?
Do they have a Cal King do it mattress?
A Cal King do it.
Yeah, California King.
I might be doing it with somebody tall.
What if you're having a bunch of people over to do it?
I just know how it is for doing
off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get $50 off?
Promo code ORGY. And
nice.
But actually, our Comedy Film Nerds fans, you do get $50 off for reals. You get you go to Casper.com/comedyfilmnerds and use the promo code comedyfilmnerds and $50 off your mattress. They'll ship it. That's the great thing about these guys are like, well, I don't want to get a mattress without trying it out. But you've got like 100 days,
and you can send it back free shipping if you're not happy.
Painless returns. They'll make it easy for if you don't like it. So check it out. They're so much cheaper. It's $500 for a twin size, $950 for a king sized, and you're going to get $50 off anyway. So check it out. Casper.com/comedyfilmnerds. Do it.
Hashtag sleep.
Hashtag sleep it.
Hashtag do it.
Hashtag.
So now one of the things I want to talk about is there's only one DVD coming out, and I really want you to pull this up because I want you to read the description because it's absolutely hilarious. It's got... you could tell this was like, we can just kind of send this overseas. It's called Survivor. Now read the description.
A Foreign Service officer in London tries to prevent a terrorist attack set to hit New York, but is forced to go on the run when she is framed for crimes she did not commit. Wait, what?
It's kind of like, we really need a low-budget Bourne Identity with... yeah. Isn't it Mila Jovovich is in it, and I think Pierce Brosnan is also in it.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan. They're on the cover.
Oh, that's great. So you have other movies to see. I would ignore the DVDs for this week.
Go see Dope.
Yeah, go see Dope. Go see Inside Out. There's many other things to see.
Go buy a ticket for Dope and then watch Jurassic to make Gregory happy.
Yeah, do that as well. So now I want to talk about something. This has been in the works for, I would say, probably months. And we've been working with iTunes to set up a Comedy Film Nerds store on iTunes. Yeah. And it is now up, and it's big, and it's really great. It's you can go to itunes.com/CFN. And what it is, it's our own page in iTunes, and you can get everything from digitally, our book, our app. You can get the podcast. You can subscribe to all the other podcasts that, we're friends with and that we recommend. Everything from Thrilling Adventure Hour to Nerdist there.
Jackie's podcast.
Jackie's podcast. And you can also get all of the comedy CDs. You can get Graham's and Mike's, and you can get my book, Pacify Me. Everything is there, and we get a little affiliate taste of it if you buy something there. But the other thing we're really excited about, too, is we did a bunch of movie recommendations. Now, we did a bunch of big ones, obviously the Star Wars was digital. I think we did Lord of the Rings. We also did Boyhood. But we also added some really cool indies that you may not have heard of, like Ink and Versus. Versus is an amazing martial arts film. You definitely want to check out. So, and what we'll be doing is we'll be curating that recommended film list, and we'll be changing it. We're not sure how often we'll be changing it, maybe once a month, because it is actually a process with iTunes. Yeah. We can't just go in and change it ourselves. We got to fill in requests.
But this is a cool thing that
iTunes
came to us with. They came to the festival last year, and they're like, we really want to try this. And so we're like one of the first ones to do this.
Yes.
And it's a really cool thing because it's what we talked about. Like I love recommending movies like Dope, and so often we come across a movie and it's like, where can you see this? It's hard to find, and we want to have those at easy access. So you just go to iTunes.com/CFN, and we're going to have these cool movies for you guys to see. And if you decide to buy or rent it through that, we get a little taste, which is cool. And it doesn't cost you anything extra.
Right. And it's also anything that we have in the Comedy Film Nerd store that you really just wanted to buy digitally or on iTunes. It's easier for you to do it now. Even everything from like Kevin Pollak's book to Punching the Clown, the film, even Dean's Truth Is Out There movie now. If you didn't want to buy it from us, if you buy it through iTunes, we still get a little taste of it.
Yeah, if you don't want to, if you want to go digital instead of the physical copies that we have here in the store, if you go through our iTunes site, then we get a little piece of business. So it's nice.
So it's really cool, and like I said, we'll be updating and changing it periodically. But check it out. It took a long time to set up, so we're really happy it launched.
Cool.
So, all right, premiering this week, Ted 2. I did see the first one, and like most of Seth MacFarlane's work, it has a mixture of very inspired, funny jokes and some very lazy and obvious jokes.
Boobies.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean,
hilarious and
toilet. And like, really, that's where you're going? Yeah. Like, is this made by the same guy? So I didn't love the first one. It was okay. I did, once the first kind of like the first initial kind of like novelty wears off, then you're left with another hour of movie, and I can't imagine the sequel's going to really up that. We're like, oh my God, this is stuff I haven't seen in the first one. So I don't know. If you love the first one, you'll probably like the second one. I'm not as excited to see it. Now, the second movie out is called Max, which is a interesting movie.
Is it the sequel to Mad Max where he's not upset anymore?
It's nice Max.
Okay, Max.
Yeah, everything.
Chill, Max.
It is actually
found water. Pretty good.
We got his water. It's totally fine.
Got a nice democracy working.
We took all the makeup off of our muscles and unpierced.
A lot of equality.
And no one's hungry or hot.
The bass player on the truck got a regular gig in a club. It's air conditioned. It's just called Max.
We're by the beach.
It's fine, you guys.
Now, Max is
that chick's arm grew back.
This is a movie about a combat dog that gets post-traumatic stress.
Well, that's very different than what I imagined.
Now, this is the kind of movie, judging from the trailer, it is engineered to make you cry.
Easily. A dog movie?
Yeah, a dog movie with vets and, somebody doesn't come home and the dog is alone and you're like, oh my God.
It's based on a true story from my understanding.
Yeah, so pretty much, you might even be tearing up in the trailer.
And he's the director that did Remember the Titans, Boaz, and a couple other movies that have been there.
So it's definitely going to be a weeper. So check it out.
Yeah. I'll probably see it.
Yeah, actually my daughter really wants to see it, so I'll probably be seeing it as well.
Go.
Yep, and now I have to go. So, all right.
That's our show.
That is our show.
Guys,
fun,
good times, man. We learned a lot. We learned how to hate ourselves.
Yeah,
we did.
Plenty more where that came from.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Dope. Go see Dope.
Go see Dope. Go see Inside Out. And go to iTunes.com/CFN and get a Casper mattress.
And next week, Joe Biden will be talking about
talking about Dope.
Spy.
Actually, he's going to open for me in Vegas.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, let's see how
that's his retirement plan.
He might walk.
He's going on the road with you.
And then my whole set is just not talking policy, but I just make fun of what was Biden doing.
Yeah. Hey, man.
He's so mad about.
Yeah, work on your setups, old man.
Still taking the train everywhere.
What if you couldn't follow him? What if you couldn't follow him? He's like, this was a terrible idea.
Drop the mic.
Yeah.
What do you mean you want to co-headline?
Yeah,
Biden.
Biden's like, all right, Graham, you do your jokes. I've been public speaking for 50 years.
Yeah.
And this is everything I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Buckle the fuck up, asshole.
Also, I realize I only have 15 minutes. I get it. I'm not going to run the line. I'm not that guy.
Well, that's our show. Laura House. Where else can people find you? I know you got the
LauraHouse.com. How to Hate Yourself is running at the Fringe. And
what are the dates of the Fringe?
It goes through the 29th of June. It's going on right now. The Hollywood Fringe Festival. And up on LauraHouse.com, I put dates and stuff. I was just at Bridgetown, and
nice.
I'm out there.
Boom.
I'm out there, you guys.
All right, guys. Well, I'll be in Vegas with Gary Brightwell and Joe Biden July 14th through the 19th at the Improv at Harrah's. I'm in Tahoe in August. And, of course, LA Podfest, guys.
Yep. September 18 to 20.
LAPodfest.com.
Tickets are on sale. The streaming tickets will be on sale next month. Mm-hmm. And we've already announced a bunch of shows. We'll be announcing more. Actually, the lineup's getting pretty close.
We got about 24 shows booked right now out of 35 total.
And we're starting to book the panels and workshops. There's going to be a great one on crowdfunding and some other great ones about just making your podcast a business, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got cool shows. We got Thrilling Adventure Hour. We got the Sklar Brothers, Janet Varney. We just ended Lauren Lapkus podcast, so that'll be really cool.
Tess Rafferty and I do a podcast called Regrets Only.
Really?
Yeah, our one with Retta drops today.
Ooh.
I think, but we've got Beth Littleford. Yeah, it's really good.
Great.
We talk about regrets only. It's very funny.
I didn't know you
Full of
knew
fun
that.
people, yeah.
How many episodes
I'll send you some. We've 8 or 9 or 10.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We'll check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, please do.
All right, guys. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you, Laura House.
Thank you.
My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini. And as always, remember,
Han shot first.
You know, I had a yoga teacher that his head was way too small for his body. It was so disconcerting.
Ugh.